met a gypsy.
That's happening at the moment with all the pandemic and all that. It's kind of it's definitely given a lot of riders kind of a lot more time to focus on their technique and riding, and with the social media aspect of it all, it's like,
yeah,
to me it makes sense that that's how the sport's going at the moment, because it's just a good time to regroup and get good at that kind of thing.
Yeah. So when you say technique, what is the kind of stuff like you're working on at your level, and like what are you thinking about when you're riding?
So for me and my downhill bike, I've definitely changed technique a lot, and I think it's mainly my bike setup. And a lot of people think that I've just ditched my chain, but it's not just a ditched chain. Like, I've actually changed my whole... I've gone to smaller bikes, smaller cranks, the no chain.
Even your bars look pretty narrow.
Yeah, they're not as wide as a lot of people. They're still 780 wide, but I guess I have quite wide shoulders, so like they probably are pretty narrow for my body build.
Yeah, right.
But it's a very small bike. It's kind of like a slope bike, which... I don't know, it makes me focus on my posture and like a bit more trying to copy people like Tyler, to be honest. Like,
yeah, right.
You see the way that he's so centered on the bike and can't just swing off it, and like, because his feet are so central. So like, I've been running, it's a bit of a secret, I haven't really told too many people, but I've been running kids cranks for the last year and a half now.
Yeah.
So they're...
and so that just gets you more like this?
Yeah, so they're 135mm long.
Wait, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's... If you watch people that are listening, I guess, if you watch me ride now, you would notice how close my feet are.
Where can we see a video of it? Because I think
probably my Sound of Speed will show it, and it kind of just shows why my knees are so close together, and it helps you with better, like...
It keeps your hips like...
Just your whole body's way more centered, and like for tables or whips or... roots, anything, like your knees are close to the top tube. It makes you look tighter, it makes you look cleaner, it feels easier and tighter, and it's just like and right. With the whole chainless aspect, there's less pedal drop, so you can kind of, you don't get so much flop.
Yeah, right.
So you can see, like in these, my feet are nearly right next to each other.
Yeah, dude, because okay.
Yeah, so it's like, that's been my biggest kind of trial in the last 2 years, that I've been trying to work on my riding to fit my bike better.
Man, it's so cool. I honestly love having these conversations, because even in my own head for so long, I thought guys that were as good as you, because essentially, like, I'm a professional fan. Like, that's really all I am. Like, that's what this podcast is like me getting paid to be a fan of guys like you that are so fucking good at what you do. And in my head, I always just like, these motherfuckers are just so good, and they're so dialed. They don't really have to work on shit anymore. Like, they're not... To me, riding is a project. It's like it's like a life's project.
It is for me too.
Yeah, and that's what's been so cool. I've realized that now.
And that's... It not only goes into, like, the whole thing everyone... I don't know. I listened to my friend Ollie, who runs the Fastest Fuck Bike page, and he runs all the clothing and stuff. He's been like a massive inspiration for me. Him and Sam and John and Jack, it's their whole little crew, and they've definitely inspired me the most out of anyone, because they were running like it would have been like 8 years ago now. They were running Iron Horse Sundays with 24-inch rear wheel, 26 front, rental moto bars, and 120mm cranks, like kids cranks, and everyone was like, it's so weird, it's different, it's not like normal.
Yeah.
But now now I look at it and they were so onto it, because the way that biking's going now, and I don't know if I've helped that, but like everyone's just wanting to wear normal clothes. Everyone wants to ride what they want to ride, and it's like everyone's wearing mullet bikes now, like the 2 different wheel size, and all they were trying to do was like ride it more like a motorbike, because that's a way more developed sport, and everyone would laugh at them 10 years ago, and now it's like, wait up, they were like 10 years ahead of you guys. It's pretty
so sick.
Yeah, and that's definitely changed my whole thoughts on everything, and watching those guys progress to where I want to be. And it's I find it pretty interesting. It's like, I don't know, every day I'm tweaking my bike just a tiny little bit, but it's not in the way that the public will think's cool. They'll look at me like I'm a weirdo, because they're like, why are you running kids cranks and no chain?
But I feel like there's something about you, and I'd say this is what attracts people to you. Like, everybody fucking loves you, and that's a similar thing with Berriman too. Like, I don't want to keep fucking comparing you or whatever, but there's another guy. Like, it is very interesting, like the personality type, and like the lane that you're in now. It's like your personality with your style and like everything that you do kind of like pushes you into, yeah, that like that's Remy Morton. Like that's his lane. He made that, like that's his deal. And Tyler's the exact same. But I mean,
well, I'm trying to be like him, I guess.
But you go through your Instagram, dude, like you go way back, there's like the fucking dreads kid and you've always wore different clothes. But you're right, man, like there's a point where it's like Remy Morton, the fluoro racer pan dude.
Yeah.
And then it just fucking stops. And it's guys like you that actually do push the culture forward in sport.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing that I learnt from those fast as fuck dudes. I met all those guys like around that time when I had the injury. I had a lot of like sponsorship changes, and throughout those few years I had some pretty bad sponsorship problems, and just like I just realized to myself, I was like, why am I doing this? Like someone's paying me. Like I really appreciate all of those guys that helped me get to where I am, but it was more of a mental thing. I was like, why am I riding for this person when I'm just getting like a free shirt or something, you know? Like it's not the shirt that I would actually buy. Like I want to wear a nice set of like flogged out cutoffs from Lifeline. Yeah. Not a set of stiff like moto pants when I'm riding downhill bikes, you know? And I kind of went through that phase of like trying to work out all of that stuff and where just being comfortable on the bike. And I think it's really important too. A lot of people say to me like, yeah, but you're advertising not wearing protection or this and that, like no knee pads and that. And it's like, yeah, but all the guys that are racing the World Cups, they're wearing full fluoro race kits, and you still can't see they're wearing knee pads and that stuff. And then you go to the local bike park and there'll be a kid wearing like a $300-400 kit and still no knee pads. Yeah. But you think he's all good because he's wearing it, but he's got like $100 helmet on, and you know, he's been like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like you're looking at those guys as like the influence, and it's like it's really not safe.
Yeah,
like you're just still wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So I went through that stage of like trying to work out why was I actually influencing that, and that's not really where I want to be in bike riding. I always said to my dad that I never wanted to be a competitor in the sport. I want to change the sport, and it made it pretty apparent to me that like after all my accident shit that I wasn't going to change the sport in racing. I wasn't fit. I wasn't going to be Sam Hill. Like I wasn't at a physical point where I could win a World Cup by 15 seconds. So I then went on to like trying to figure out how I could change the sport, but in my own direction, and bringing the culture and lifestyle into it and try to educate people what is important in the sport and what you'll get out of it by being yourself and giving back to people in the ways that actually matter, not just giving a product to someone that they probably don't really care about.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.